I recently made the swap from Machinist to Red Mage. Now, Machinist is obviously a job that I enjoy very much. It's a job that I've played since 4.1, and in terms of Savage content, the only time I've ever switched from Machinist to another job was White Mage during Eden's Gate, where I played White Mage from the first fight through to Titan, and then Titan's difficulty with the heal checks in the last phase forced me to switch back to Machinist, where I've been ever since. But recently, I decided to try my hand at playing a caster, and in the last 3 weeks, I found that I really enjoyed it. So here's a quick rundown of why I switched my main job. The first thing I'll talk about is that the aesthetic of Machinist is still one of my favorite in the game. It's the only job I've ever seen fit to tattoo on my own body. I absolutely love the job. What I don't like is the state of the job. Specifically, I'm not talking about just the buffs that hit with this patch, but overall the job design since Endwalker was released. With the redesign of Machinist in 5.0 Shadowbringers, Machinist got a lot simpler. No longer were we clicking rapid reload, it was built in. No longer were we worrying about a 10-second penalty. All of the problems with Stormblood Machinist were done away with, and we got some cool toys to play with. Both Drill and Air Anchor are still very satisfying. One of the problems that I have with current Machinist is actually the number of buttons needed to be pressed to do the rotation optimally in group content. This isn't to say that I'm unwilling or unable to learn the new rotation, as one additional GCD in the form of Chainsaw does change how things are managed, resources are watched, and when certain things happen, like when you're going to overheat or not. Having that third timer does change things up a bit. The problem I have is that in terms of the number of actions per second, why would I play Machinist as many button presses and fast overheat windows as it has when I could play a caster, do more damage, bring raid utility, be able to save a scuff to run with a combat res, and also bring multiple forms of mitigation? When the development team announced that Machinist specifically, coming into 5.0, was shifting from ranged support to selfish DPS, I thought for sure that Machinist at least would be a middle-of-the-pack DPS. We would certainly be at the top of all three Fizz range, and maybe, we'd fight with one of the casters in, swapping for a mid position. This has not materialized. In fact, Bard and Machinist that are trading places back and forth with only 100 DPS or less between them. So Machinist's current state and the 1% buff they gave it in 6.08 is just not very satisfying for the promises that have been made for the job. So this whole video is not going to be just me shitting on Machinist. Again, I love this job, and I think Chainsaw has a cool animation. I think that having 3 buttons that do the same potency and you can just kind of swap them around, except for Air Anchor because it has the longest cooldown, is not very fun design. It's at least not very inspired. I feel like something else could have been done. I know that once you have one move that has a higher potency than the others, that move becomes the de facto move that you use. And I'm not a game designer, can't tell you how I would design it, but having the 3 timers and 3 buttons that all do the same potency isn't engaging gameplay to me. Now I'd like to talk about what I like about Red Mage. Coming into this Savage tier, I have really only played Red Mage in extreme content in terms of higher level things. So playing a caster again, I've had to learn, standing there, making sure I don't drop my casts, how to slide cast, where in the progress bar can I move so it doesn't cancel. There's been a whole bunch of adjustments and things that I've had to learn over the last couple weeks that are very basic in order to even get my DPS at a respectable level. With the basics out of the way, now that we're working on P2, it's been learning, okay, I'm gonna have enough mana at this point for this mechanic to, do my melee combo and enter my 3 finishers. Where can I use that? Where can't I use that? It's becoming less the basic rotation and becoming more, I wouldn't call it quite optimizing, but certainly making sure that what I'm doing at the time is congruent with the mechanics that are happening, and that I'm not in a situation where, raid wides are going out and I'm on the opposite side of the boss in a melee combo and gonna die. There's also something to be said that it is really satisfying when we have a mechanic that requires all 8 people and I'm able to get out that res, with a dual cast super quick, and we can do the mechanic and have more prog. That does feel satisfying. I do get enjoyment from bringing support in a raid environment. It's what really pushed me towards the Fizz range category when I started all the way back in 2.1. Now at that time I had no intention of becoming a raider, I didn't know what kind of job I wanted to play, and when I found out from my spouse that ranged was support, I knew instantly what I wanted to do. And so being able to do that on Red Mage again, even if it's only a couple pulls a night, it just feels so good. So I hope you enjoyed me talking about some of the things that I've enjoyed playing Red Mage versus Machinist. Obviously this isn't very in-depth. This might be more content like this in the future, so thanks so much.